And here we go. Thursday, November 18th, 2021. Ermanni and Edwards, The Bottom Line. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards. Mr. Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon to you, my guy. I'm excited to be here. Another good day. We got some good guests as always. Some fun stuff. Got a chance to check out basketball before I fell asleep last night.
What'd you think? What'd you think of the hardwood last night there, Braylon?
I watched the Lakers and the Bucks, man, and what I'm realizing is Giannis Antetokounmpo is really good.
And the Lakers are not very good at all.
Well, you know what? The NBA is very different than any other sport, especially now. Like, you don't have to play to win now. Like, everything for the NBA is about what happens after Christmas, what happens after All-Star break. You set your team up, you get some experience, some chemistry, you add pieces around there. So it's not really important now. But just watching Giannis Antetokounmpo yesterday play against AD and the Lakers, he's just a different player, man. And I had this great analogy. Tell me if you rock with me. Just, follow me for 2 seconds.
Sure, I'm here for you.
Giannis Antetokounmpo to the NBA is Lamar Jackson to the NFL. Now, here's why I make that comparison. Lamar Jackson wins some games in the NFL, and there's some ugly games. Like, there's some ugly games. He may not have 300 yards passing. He may not have 250. He may have 2 interceptions, but he gets the win. He makes the big plays at the big time. He's not selfish. He gets the rushing yards when he's supposed to. He makes the throws that he needs to make when he's supposed to and wins the game. Giannis is like that too. Giannis will go to the free throw line. Giannis will be 40%, 30%. Giannis will miss some shots, miss some threes. But in crunch time, Giannis makes the plays in the post. He's unstoppable. He's unguardable. Heck, look at the playoffs last year. Look at the finals. He was terrible shooting free throws. But what happened in that game when they needed to close out the last 2 games? He shot 85% and 72% from the free throw line. Giannis to basketball or to the NBA is Lamar Jackson to the NFL.
I would disagree with you slightly, though, because of the fact that Lamar Jackson has never won a playoff game, and Giannis did last year win the title.
Well, you took a little bit literal, but yeah, I mean, okay, if you want to go the route, yes, he did win a playoff, and he has won playoff series, and he did win a title last year. But if you throw that part out, like
the team award, if you throw out the team stuff,
exactly,
individually,
if you throw out the team success, like, man, they have success at the highest level. They just haven't had playoff success and championship success. But the way in which they win games, man, sometimes it's ugly, but they get it done. They do what they need to do. And people, the pundits, the media, they're like, well, Lamar doesn't pass this way, and he's not like this, and he's not like that. But he wins games. He wins MVPs. Same with Giannis. Oh, well, Giannis doesn't do this. He doesn't have a shot, a signature shot. He wins games. He wins MVPs. He wins championships.
Tom Mazawey is with us as well. Tom, let us know which player you hate more, Lamar Jackson or Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I love them both.
That was a great segue.
I love them both.
Maz hates everybody.
No, I don't.
I'm not starting with Maz today. I didn't say it, Maz. Ryan said it.
You really think that?
No,
I didn't say it.
I'm kidding.
No,
it's
you're
a
not.
joke.
I know. But jokes are hitting home here right now.
Okay, don't be so soft today. Jeez,
I'm
Maz.
not.
It's cold
Come
outside.
on, don't be so soft.
I love Lamar and I love Giannis. So
They're your guys.
There you go.
There you go. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great, man.
I see you're rocking the green and white today.
Well,
any specific reason you're rocking the green and white?
I'm happy for Mel Tucker and Michigan State until I hope he signs that deal. He hasn't yet, though. He has not signed that deal yet.
Working out the buyout.
I don't know. Let's see.
That buyout is a big thing. The buyout is one of the big reasons Les Miles never came to Michigan. The buyout package that he had with LSU was amazing. Like, at that time, it was like an $18 million buyout. And this is back then. Michigan wouldn't come anywhere near it. And that was one of the major reasons why Les and Michigan couldn't settle and couldn't get it done.
You think he would have been good here?
I think it could have been interesting. I think so. Because I think he still had that traditional value, like an older coach, like a Lloyd Carr. So he still had that. But then also he was able to, and we keep using this term, connect to the younger players, bring in the younger players, recruit the way in which they want to do it. I think he would have added the level of what they were looking for with Rich Rod. I think he would have added that.
So he would have been instead of Rich Rod.
Yeah. He would have been instead of Rich Rod.
Man, I wonder what the program would have been. I wish you could turn back time.
Well, certainly. You wonder where the program would have been if Rich Rodriguez would have gotten the Alabama job. Remember, he was hired for the Alabama job before ultimately that didn't work out, and then he came to Michigan. But this is about Mel Tucker, and number one sports story, I think, in the country today. Mel Tucker expected to sign a 10-year, $95 million deal And it's the way in which this contract is given, which makes this a very different feel to it than contracts that we have come to know publicly at last, some of the high-profile ones over the course of the years, because there's two Spartan alums who are really footing the bill for this.
Let me say something real quick. Let me get this off my chest. I've been waiting to get into work to say this, and it was about the way in which this was broke. This article was broke. Who broke this article? It was Gypsy with the Freak.
Yeah, it's Chris Solari and
that particular one was Jesse. What's his name? It's in the graphic. Anyway, I'll come back to it. I'll figure it out. The reason why I want to say something, Ryan, Maz, Fish, Alex, and to our fans, if you couldn't see it, what that graphic said was that if he accepts this deal, talk about Mel Tucker, the head coach of Michigan State, he would be the highest paid black coach in the country. We always talk about wanting to stop talking about things with black and white and race and this, that, and the third, but we always mention it. It always gets mentioned. Stop mentioning that he would be the highest paid black coach in any sport. Who cares? Like, just mention that, the contract is good. He will be the highest paid coach in college football, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to stop talking about race at every turn, then stop talking about race at every turn. Don't mention that he will be the highest paid black coach. Who cares? He will be the highest paid coach in NCAA college football. Let's start doing that and stop doing that.
David Jesse,
stop doing that. Like, talk about he's the highest paid black coach. There's no need to mention race. If you want to stop talking about race, stop talking about race.
What about the fact that there's so many questions regarding this contract? And again, look, this is not my money. I don't care. And when you have the ability to have two alums with the bulk of the money,
right? If not more than that.
Yeah, right. With the bulk of the money for this contract, doesn't even matter. Whether you make him the second highest paid coach. My question is this. Number one, are you really that afraid that Mel Tucker would walk after essentially one full year at Michigan State? That's number one question. Because you doubled his salary from Colorado to Michigan State to come to Michigan State, to come to East Lansing. And now you're doubling it again even before you finish. And look, I'm throwing last year out. Last year was a total wash to me. I don't even know you can count the Michigan win, but 2-5. He came in. He worked the transfer portal this year. It's been great, but they have not played Ohio State yet. They have not played Michigan State yet. My question, Braylon, is if you're taking $95 million to the open market, is Mel Tucker the second best coach in the country? You don't think you could get any coach in the country that you wanted for $95 million? If he walked, right. If he chose to walk, I don't think he's a real possibility at LSU, and I don't think he's a real possibility at USC. I think Michigan State's negotiating against themselves right now. To be honest with you, that's just me. Right. Well, you kill me for having the opinion, but I don't think his name's been mentioned. Yes, but I don't think it was a real possibility. Right. Lane Kiffin is a guy that is expected to move. But again, my question is, if you have $95 million, go get Urban Meyer or go get whoever you want. Name a coach. They will come to Michigan State for $95 million.
All right, listen to this. One, if you said it's not your money, then act accordingly. Stop trying to count other people's pockets. Stop counting Michigan State's pockets. If they have $95 million and they want to throw $95 million at Mel Tucker, there is a reason. Now, for people saying that, go get Urban and
who's in charge then?
Let me finish. I didn't cut you off. I'll let you talk. Mel Tucker is a guy, you say like, what Mel Tucker? What is his resume? He hasn't done anything. Well, he beat Michigan. He beat Michigan again. He has Michigan State the most popular that they've ever been. This is the most popular that Michigan State has ever been in the national spotlight. Then you say, what about his resume? Just because he doesn't have the head coaching resume doesn't mean he doesn't have a resume. He was on the coaching staff when Ohio State won the national championship in 2002. He was on the coaching staff when Alabama won the national championship in 2015. He was on the coaching staff when Georgia should have beat Alabama in the national championship in 2018. He's been to the NFL. He's been all around the Big Ten, the SEC. He's coached under Saban. He's coached under Tressel. He's had success. He knows how to win. He understands the transfer portal. This is the most popular Michigan State has ever won. They don't want a Nick Saban Part 2. Why would you give him a chance to be a Nick Saban Part 2? Everything is going well up there. Look at the players. Look at after the games. Look at the energy that he provides. He understands Michigan State, and Michigan State is thriving because of it. If they have the money to throw at Mel Tucker, to give him 10 for 95, why not? They are on top right now without being the number one team in the country, just in terms of everything they've done, the success that they've had in the national spotlight this year. They are on top right now. Why wouldn't you want to procure that for the long run? Why wouldn't you?
When it comes down to it, they might get Mel Tucker on the cheap. Because
exactly.
wait till you see,
money goes up.
Wait till you see what LSU, Miami of Florida, and USC gives their coaches.
Oh yeah, Lane Kiffin was expected to go to Miami. That was
Lane Kiffin is about to get paid. Lincoln Riley is about to re-up again. Brian, David Shaw is the second highest paid coach, and he never even won a Pac-12 championship.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way this contract is paid is different than the way contracts have been paid, at least publicly, as we know anyway. Now, I know, in Alabama, all those donors down there, they buy Nick Saban the house and got everything like that. But who's in charge now at Michigan State? Is it Matt Ishbia in St. Andre? I've never heard of St. Andre. If those guys want him out, does he get out then? When you do stuff like this, there are plenty of questions that go along with it, though. We have not seen anything like this.
But who's asking the questions? You're a Michigan guy worrying more about the Michigan State coach than Michigan State people.
No, I am a Michigan guy, yes, but I do this for a living. I come here and give my opinions about stuff, about everything.
I feel you.
So that's what I do. I'm just asking the question. The guy has had 1 or 2 years of head coaching experience, and I'm just saying, if you got $95 million, why don't maybe?
Because maybe they found their next. They found the next Urban Meyer. They found him. They're sticking with him. Because this guy looks like he's a football guy.
And that's great.
He sweats football.
Hey, look.
The thing with Ryan is always looking for the new shiny thing. Like, you're always looking for the new shiny thing. Kay McNamara is dang near undefeated, and before before yesterday it was put JJ McCarthy in. He looks good. Now they're having success in East Lansing. They're winning at a high clip. Everybody is happy, but you're like, I wouldn't pay him. I go get Urban Meyer.
Let's see how happy they are. Let's see how happy they are on Saturday at about 7:30.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's up to them, not you. It fits for them. You don't have to worry about why it fits in East Lansing. It fits to them.
Hey,
to the tune of 10 for 95.
We're going to have Chris Solari coming up of Freep.com, Spartans beat writer. He'll set us straight over here. And look, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe there are no questions whatsoever regarding Michigan State and Mel Tucker's contract.
The money's going to go up anyway. Like, if you pay 10 for 95 now, what happens
after
It's out the bond.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. What happens after Lincoln Riley gets up? Lane Kiffin goes up. Everybody goes up.
They should have given They should give Mel Tucker an extension on the extension once these guys get paid. Turkey games. Woodward Sports giving you a chance to sit front row on Thanksgiving.
Two Michigan guys arguing about Michigan State. I love it.
That's what we're doing.
No, I know. It's great.
All you have to do is survive our turkey games. Listen every day to the Morning Woodward Show at 9 o'clock. Big D Energy at noon. And the bottom line at 3 for your chance to qualify. The winner of the turkey games will get 2 tickets to the Thanksgiving Day front row plus a turkey. So if you want to do that, feel free to listen to us at 3 o'clock. What's the word of the day today? Who's got it? Alex, you got the word of the day today?
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan. So when
I knew it was going to be something to do with
so
that.
dumb. When Paul Bunyan.
I knew.
Why do you let him pick the word?
Like, seriously, it's so dumb. When Paul, it's got no reference to anything in the show today.
We talk about state.
I do have a way to get it in.
I got one too.
I do have a great segue in the 3 o'clock hour to get that in, actually. Okay. So when Paul Bunyan is said in the 3 o'clock hour, go ahead and go to the YouTube chat, write that in there, be the first one, and you'll get qualified. Chris Solari, Freep.com, Spartans Beat, coming up next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Thank God, you locked ourselves in our seats over here. We didn't go at it at the
we almost
quick
did.
commercial. We almost did. We almost might.
Got some boxing gloves underneath there.
Woodward Sports Network, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. Let's bring them in. Freep.com, Spartans beat reporter Chris Solari joins us now. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm in Indianapolis, obviously, because why not? I'm still here.
Butler.
Gonna hop over to Columbus from here. It's been kind of a chaotic. That was the plan all along, and then everything went sideways yesterday with the Mel Tucker situation. So have not heard anything more about anything potentially coming today. So I'm going to Columbus.
Good for you.
For Saturday.
Hey, Chris, got to talk about the Mel Tucker, obviously, before we get to the game. Just what do you make? I mean, he'll be the second highest paid coach in college football. Just your thoughts on how this all went down. There's so many different ways to look at it, but first, big picture take, 10 years, $95 million.
Yeah, from my sources, it's been an ongoing process for nearly a month. I know that Michigan State Athletic Director Alan Haller started talking with Mel Tucker right after the rumors broke, just before Michigan State played Indiana. I think it was on October 16th. And the donors really got involved pretty quickly and asked Tucker what it would take to keep him there. And finding that funding was kind of the big thing. And that is a big number. But I think it was a substantial number for a number of reasons. One, to let Mel Tucker know that he was appreciated and wanted in East Lansing, and that what he's done thus far in a little over a year, almost 2 seasons now, it is appreciated, and they see an upward trajectory. But also, I think the bigger picture is that, let's say something were to go awry and Mel Tucker decided to go elsewhere, or if an NFL team came along at some point, whatever it may be, I think it's a message to other coaching candidates, quality coaching candidates, that says Michigan State's willing to pay top dollar to get the guy that they feel, one, will be there, and two, will lead them back to winning national championships like they did 50, 60 years ago.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press, Michigan State beat reporter. Chris, I want to ask you about these donors, because the way this contract is going to be paid, or reportedly going to be paid, the bulk of that will come from these two donors. How different is that from contracts of the past, and what does that mean? We speculate all we want. I said, who's in charge? Does that mean that Matt Ishbia is in charge of the Michigan State head coach now, essentially? If he wants him out, does he get to fire him too?
Well, I do think that some of the details are still to be ironed out and to be divulged. I believe, from what we understand, the bulk of the raise from Tucker's current salary will be handled by the donors. So that's one thing. So you're not talking about footing the full 95. You're talking about probably in that $30 to $40 billion range, which is still a significant chunk of money if you're a university who's seen declining federal and state funding, as all universities have. But kind of a drop in the bucket for these donors in a lot of ways, particularly Matt Ishbia, the former walk-on basketball player who's now a billionaire with a B, I guess you can say, which – it's hard for some of us to fathom just how much money that is. When you hear it, it doesn't seem like that much, but it's exponentially greater than just your standard run-of-the-mill millionaire like us. But I do think that it is different. The comparatives that I think are out there, you see what T. Boone Pickens did at Oklahoma State, Phil Knight at Oregon. It's kind of the way that schools are going, particularly public schools, in the face of increasing coaching salaries and demands versus declining funding, and in some ways declining revenues, with bodies in seats. I mean, obviously the television deals that are really providing a major significant flow of cash to the Big Ten schools in particular. And I know their deal's coming up soon. So I think a lot of those things come together. And, honestly, we're going to see this, I think, more often. Until a university finally steps in and says, we're not paying this much money, and who's going to do that? It's an arms race. It's always has been an arms race.
Chris, I want to ask you, because the difference is, it's almost like, who cares how much he makes, right? I mean, because it's not our money. It's
you
not.
Do.
Well, no, because it's different. Because it's not the school's money. If Matt Ishbia and St. Andre, or I'm not familiar with him specifically, but if they want to burn $40 million, like what is? It's not coming from the school, right? So it's not as
going to turn that down,
right? So it's not as a big of a deal if all $95 million came from the school. I think that's, if Michigan State's athletic department just said, we're going 10 years, $95 million, I would think there would be kind of like an eyebrow raised, but because it's coming, 30, 40 million coming from another source, it's kind of like, well, if they want to do that, go for it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting, too, the dichotomy between February, when Ishbia donated $32 million for facilities, versus this. There's a little bit different of a reaction, I think, in part because it is a coach's salary tied to one person rather than the greater good of the university per se. I mean, we could sit here and look at the numbers, how much money college football brings into a school based on enrollment, based on applications, based on bodies in the seats, licensing rights. All of those things come into play with this. So, if a donor is going to be putting that money up, and the university doesn't have to, with either state funds or funds that would go to other areas in the athletic department, I do think it is a little bit different in that it is their money. And, Michigan's got the head coach position there is basically endowed and sponsored. This is just a different bent on that.
Chris Solari joins us, the Free Press, covers the Spartans like nobody's business. Him and David Jesse break this story yesterday afternoon, just before we went off the air, so we were glad to get this in. How real do you think, Chris, is the LSU tie-in with Mel Tucker? Was that real? Is that why this happened the way it happened?
I think it was the impetus, but maybe not necessarily the full reality of it. I mean, you're obviously going to be if you've got a coach who's in demand, you're going to end up getting into a situation like this. And it's the university's job to decide whether or not they want to let a coach go, like Michigan State did 22 years ago with Nick Saban, or try and pay to keep him. And right now, I think a lot of that is a driving factor. I think a lot of that stems back to the history of watching Michigan State lose Nick Saban on that plane to LSU in 1999, and famously his assistants all staying back in East Lansing to work for Bobby Williams after that, and then seeing the trajectory that Nick Saban went on. And Nick Saban's talked a lot about that, how hard that decision was. I think this is certainly one of those moments from a historical standpoint for the people involved. I mean, Ishbia was there on campus. I know a lot of other prominent people involved in this deal were in their college careers or right there, and either played for Nick Saban or whatever it might be. So that is a very big part of this. I think you if you think this is the guy, and I from all things I've gathered from the people involved, the words that I've heard is Mel Tucker just gets it. And if you feel that way, then you invest in him. And we can always look back. I mean, you can look back at 22 years ago and say, if Michigan State did this, you probably wouldn't have been able to keep Nick Saban. His star was way on the rise at that point. Maybe you lose him to the NFL like LSU did to the Dolphins. Maybe he ends up at Alabama anyways. But I think that's the what if that Michigan State doesn't want to play here. Now the other side is that you don't know the other side of the what if. What if it doesn't come to fruition? What if it's a one-year wonder with Kenneth Walker? And what if all the struggles in recruiting remain? I think they like, though, the trajectory that Tucker has the recruiting on. I think they like the energy that he's brought to the fan base, and just the disparity between him and Mark D'Antonio and his program. I think it really got some people's eyes turned right away, and particularly once you saw this season kind of coming into full picture, I think they wanted to make sure that they rode that wave as long as they can.
Hey, Mel told Draymond Green on his show yesterday, hey, Michigan State's a destination. It's not a stopover. This is where I want to be. Let me ask you this. Is there any way he doesn't sign this contract?
There's always a way. I mean, that's quite honestly, we know how these things work. Until the name is on the dotted line, it's still just an offer, whether it's agreed to in principle or not. Until someone actually puts pen to paper, there's a chance that they could leave. I don't necessarily see it in this instance. I mean, what would draw him away? I mean, would it be another program? I mean, you've got support of people that are deep pocketed and interested in making Michigan State into not just a winner but a national competitor for the CFP titles. And I think the other side of that is, unless an NFL team wants to pay that kind of cash, which is a whole other argument, that could still end up being out there at some point. And, maybe that's where Tucker's aspirations are, to get back to the NFL and win a Super Bowl as a head coach rather than, being an assistant or a coordinator at that level. I mean, that's always a situation as well. But I think when you see the investment, just hearing what he said to Draymond Green, and that echoed a lot of what Mark D'Antonio said over the course of his tenure. And that's one thing that D'Antonio did. He made that job a destination again, which it maybe hadn't been since Duffy Daugherty.
Chris, coming back, let me ask you one quick question. I'm going to make mine very simple. Is he worth it?
That's the $95 million question, isn't it?
It is. Honestly, I said he is.
You don't have a big sample size. And I know people are pointing to what he did at Colorado, what he did last year with Michigan State, and his overall win record. But I also look at when they hired Mark D'Antonio, what his record was at Cincinnati as a head coach, and it was fairly similar. I think he was like 18 and 15 or something along those lines. So, I mean, I think it's more than just simply what you see in terms of the wins and losses. It's about creating a program and energy around the program, both in recruiting and in the fan base, that they feel that can be sustainable. How that translates to wins, ultimately, what's going to define whether that's worth it. And we could say we know or we don't know. Quite honestly, Mel Tucker's deal could be such a paradigm shifter around the country that, we're talking today of him being the second highest paid coach, I think, on that database. By the end of the month, he could be the fifth highest paid coach or seventh highest paid coach, because that's just the nature of the marketplace. So is he worth it? Only time is going to tell, but based on what people have seen this year, they believe in Mel Tucker. And, the question now is how much better and how much more sustained can Michigan State get in what he's shown in such a short time.
Hey, Chris, last thing. There is a football game this weekend, too, that nobody's talking about. Just your thought on this one.
You covered the basketball game last night.
Well, that's true, yes. Right. We'll talk to you about basketball maybe in January or February. But the football game this weekend, a 19, 20-point underdog wherever you look, wherever you shop, whatever store you're looking at. But what are the chances Michigan State goes into Columbus and comes out with a win? And will this contract have any extra motivation, for lack of a better way to say it?
I mean, does it motivate the players? I don't know.
Right.
That's hard to say. It's not their money unless there's some sort of NIL deal tied to this now. You never know. Who knows? But no, I think that, do they have a chance? Yeah. I mean, they went down there in 98 when they were unranked and around 500 and beat the Buckeyes when they were number one. And that was one of the better teams Ohio State had. D'Antonio's team went down there in 15 with a backup quarterback and beat them. Whether or not it was based on game plan of Michigan State or lack of game plan on Ohio State to run Ezekiel Elliott that day or not run him. And that's to be debated. But they ultimately went down there and won and created their path to the college football playoff. I don't know. I mean, this is a different time, different regime. I do think that having gone through the Michigan game and that week and really 3 weeks of lead up and hype and just anticipation, I think that does have them at least mentally prepared for a game like this. But I don't necessarily know if that necessarily means physically they're going to be able stick with Ohio State with the problems they've had in pass defense, and particularly with how much Ohio State does over the middle, between using those three receivers with Stroud, and using Ruckert in the passing game. And those are areas where Michigan State has struggled this year in stopping the stuff in the middle. That's where a lot of those yards have come from. You might not have seen a lot of deep balls on them, but you've seen a lot of big plays and passes that have come from in front of them where they're chasing guys. So I just think I think Ohio State has few too many weapons. But at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if Mel Tucker pulled a rabbit out of his hat. I know one of the trustees called him a magician. And to win in Columbus right now with how banged up their secondary is and their team and how bad they've struggled to stop the pass, that would be the ultimate magic trick.
Chris Solari, we certainly appreciate your time here on Woodward Sports. Hope to catch up with you down the road, and safe travels from Indianapolis to Columbus.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys. I'll
Appreciate
start
you,
my
gentlemen.
car here after we get off.
You've been great, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. So there's a lot to chew on there, guys. I do have one question that I'd like to ask you both. I will ask it next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Hey, gang, it's Maz from MyBookie.ag. It's time. It's Thursday Night Football. You going to watch it? You know I am. It's a Super Bowl 51 rematch. The Patriots at the Falcons. Pat's favored by 7 on the road. Who are you going to take? Doesn't matter, because if you go to MyBookie.ag, you'll have your choice of what to bet. Bet the points. Bet straight up. Or bet the prop bets. Whatever you want to do, but do it. Especially if you're a first-time bettor, use the promo code Woodward. They'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. That's right, on mybookie.ag. Use the promo code Woodward. NBA full slate tonight, NCAA as well. And, of course, we got football coming up on the weekend. Michigan State at Ohio State. Are you taking those Buckeyes, laying 19? I don't think you are. I think you're going to take the Spartans. But we'll see. You can bet it on mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. If you have a problem with gambling, call the Michigan Gambling Problem Hotline. 1-800-270-7117.
Oh, guys. Man, I got a lot going on back here. I'll tell you, so the one thing I feel a little off take, so I didn't do job number 1 today. And I usually I have a molded earpiece that I use here, so I'm using
a borrowed
earpiece,
earpiece, which is like the worst imaginable thing possible.
It's like wearing another man's underwear.
Yes,
right?
that's exactly that's exactly the best analogy I could have today.
You can clean off all the earwax, though, so you're not getting all the earwax in your ear.
Hey, Fish, hush. Rest of the show.
Silence, Fish.
Rest of the show. Don't say anything.
Fish, you're the best, man. Hey, I do have a question for you. And feel free to attack me all you want.
Oh, I'd love to.
This is the last question I'll ask regarding Mel Tucker today, right. I think. Well, maybe a couple of more, but just it. Is Michigan State so worried that the guy was going to leave him? So my question is Mel Tucker committed to Michigan State, or is he committed to the next best thing? Is he committed to the money, or is he committed to Michigan State? The Michigan State Spartans doubled his salary from Colorado to Michigan State, gave him a 5-year deal. And if you're telling me you're going to turn around a year later and leave them, if the university was so worried that he would leave them if they didn't do this now, what does that say about Mel Tucker, who's had 10 different jobs in the last 24 years? And I got that number from the Freep today. Just wanted to source that.
Yeah, but they were assistant jobs. One, I'm still confused with your infatuation over Mel Tucker.
It's
Michigan
Braylon.
State.
It's the biggest story in the state of Michigan right
But your
now.
infatuation is like, I'm
What do you
confused.
want to talk about, the Lakers?
It's not about talking about them, but it's your infatuation with them offering him the money. Then it's also like, what does
Because
that say?
we've never seen this
but then
money
it's like,
before.
What does that say about Mel Tucker? What it says is he's a darn good coach. Like, yes, he doesn't have the track record of a head coach, but look at everywhere he's been. He hasn't left head coaching jobs. The only head coaching job he left was Colorado. Who wouldn't leave Colorado? He's been an assistant coach at all these schools: Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, Michigan State, in the NFL, associate head coaches. He's never been a head coach. It's not like we have 22 years worth of him leaving programs as the head coach. Everything is working out for him right now. If he's offered 10 years, $95 million, which he is, if he accepts, which he probably will, he's accepting for the long run. He's not going anywhere.
I get that.
So if they want to offer him that, they feel good about where their program is, the trajectory of their program under Mel Tucker. They offered him that. If he accepts, they're a match made in heaven moving forward. Like, what are we sitting here talking about? Like, what does that say about
what the
Mel
hell
Tucker?
do you want to talk about?
No, we can talk about it, but stop talking about it like, well, I mean, what does that say about him?
What does it say about him? Are
What
they
do you
that
mean?
worried?
It says they like him. They appreciate him.
Ryan is saying,
giving him their just due.
Ryan's saying he's kind of a carpetbagger because he's had 10 different jobs. What I'm saying,
they're assistant coaching jobs still.
Well,
All assistant coaching.
Well, he had a head coaching job at Colorado.
But in 22 years, he had one
I get
coaching job. So don't use it like.
Why are you getting so worked up?
Why are you getting so worked up?
I'm asking questions. I'm not worked up.
I'm not worked up either. I'm like, he's gonna take the job. He's not gonna take the job. He deserves the offer. They think they deserve the offer. That's all that matters. Michigan State is the best they've ever been in terms of popularity. They want to offer him the money. They have the money to offer him. They're only going to match the extension, not the money that came before that. If he accepts, he accepts.
Hey, the horse is out of the barn now with NIL. They're getting money from other sources. So you could pay your coach or your players anything you want right now. If Jim Harbaugh wins out this year and maybe gets to a playoff, what do you think his renegotiation is going to be next year?
Well, he already has incentives in his contract, and he's already reached some of those incentives. So that 4.3 already is at about 5.2, 5.6 already.
But that's getting ripped up if he goes to the playoffs.
Well, sure.
So how much is he worth?
Although I would tell you that Jim Harbaugh probably made more money for less big wins in his life.
I know he's made his cash.
I mean, he's gotten that cash.
No
So
doubt.
look, I'm not gonna fight. Look,
this is the new pay.
This is the new
$95 million.
It's a new way to do it.
That's the minimum for a very good coach now. That's it.
And you know who's loving this? Nick Saban.
How much more can he make?
What about Dabo Sweeney?
He can make more.
You think Dabo Sweeney is like, hey,
Well,
I got
Dabo
a couple
Sweeney,
of natties.
he better wake up.
Dabo's in trouble.
Yeah,
right
he better come back.
Dabo's in trouble right now.
He
His
is.
program.
I'll take his ad. I'll take him. I'll take Dabo Sweeney. He won 2 natties. What did he win, 2?
He won 2, won 3.
Needs a quarterback though.
He won 2.
Who doesn't need a quarterback?
Everybody.
Everybody needs a quarterback. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. All right, we'll talk whatever you guys want to talk about next.
Did you guys hear when he talked to Draymond Green?
No, I don't care anymore. I don't want to talk about Mel Tucker.
I want to play it coming back at least.
We can talk about Mel.
I'm not talking about
We can
him
talk
anymore.
about Mel Tucker.
Ermanni and Edwards. We're talking about something
Woodward
else.
Sports Network, the bottom line. We can talk
The Mel
about
Tucker Network.
No.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
And a miraculous catch.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Braylon Edwards here. Guess what? If you want to start a career right now in an industry that is always essential, visit northwesterntech.edu. That's right. Talking about the heating and cooling industry, it will never not be essential. And Northwestern Tech allows you, fresh out the gate, to earn $77,000. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a career and sounds like some good cash. Visit northwesterntech.edu right now.
And now there's some reports coming out that you're here to stay and you'll be with us for a long time.
Well, that's my goal. I came here, and I made it clear in my initial press conferences that I thought that Michigan State was a destination job and not a stepping stone. And obviously, I have Big Ten roots. I played at Wisconsin. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. My parents are 3 hours and 15 minutes away. My wife is from Chicago. And I know the Big Ten landscape. This is where I started my career in 1997 as a graduate assistant for Nick Saban. So this Michigan State's a special place for me. And so there was never my intention to come here and just pass through. I believe that we're building something special here. And I've had tremendous support here to do that, and we're on the right track.
So that's Mel Tucker on with Draymond Green, the Draymond Green podcast.
Everybody's got a show.
Everybody's got a podcast these days.
How do you not?
How do you not?
Not everybody's show is good, though.
Where's the Steph Curry network?
Right. Well, he's got one too. Everybody's got one. So the quote there from Mel Tucker, which I found just fascinating. He says, MSU is such a destination job. MSU is such a destination job that you've got to double my salary 15 months after you hire me in order for me to stay. That's what I took out of it. That's what I took out of it. Michigan State is such a destination job that they've got to double his salary so he doesn't leave.
It's a destination job, but at the same time, you still get paid. You still deserve to get paid what you're worth. Harbaugh got they upped his salary before
robbed Michigan.
They upped his salary before he even took a first snap. Like, he changed his salary like literally right after the first game. But with that being said, it is a destination job. That's what he's coming off. I did get that. That is interesting. The way that I look at it is, you go all your life trying to find that spot. You try to find that place, that career. You try to find what's going to be, like, where's home? Where's going to be home? Well, if you take a look at it and you listen to what he said, his first job was under Saban at Michigan State. He was on graduate assistant with 97. He was way back then. He went to Wisconsin. He knows the Big Ten landscape, and then he goes around. He's trying to find his footing, but he's getting good opportunities. He goes, coaches under Trussell. It's Ohio State. It's another Big Ten school. And he goes back with Saban, and he's gone around trying to find his feet, but he's gained experience, knowledge, the way in which people do things. And he went to Buffalo, first head coaching job at Buffalo. That is not a destination spot. That is not. Then Michigan State spot opened up. He was there in 97. That's where it all started. It's where it all began. Now he's having success at the highest level. I guarantee you he wants to stay at Michigan State. And I think the spot has opened up for him now. He's had success. They've come back. Like, he's figured out the transfer portal.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, he's at the transfer. And they want to pay him. But it's, you know what? It's just like when the Lions paid Matthew Stafford in 16. Matthew Stafford was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL for all of 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. He was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL for 30 seconds. Then Matt Ryan got paid. Then Eli got paid. Then Aaron Rodgers got paid. Then Tom got paid. Then Breeze got paid. So it's only going to last for a certain time. For a quick second. But to your point, it's the way in which you're going with the NIL, with people being able to help and be able to, come in on the side. Like, hey, you guys cover that. We can cover this. Coaches' salaries are around the country going to go up. There's a bunch of coaches now in the top 10 that I don't agree with. But they're only going to go up now that the money is going up and the TV deal has come up as well. So Michigan State, like Matt said, they're getting ahead of the curve, to be honest.
They're getting on the cheap.
They're getting ahead of the curve.
By the way, now, is Michigan State the new Michigan? Because don't expectations slide over to them now?
I don't think that that's one of the questions that I had, because, when we talked – the first time we talked about Mel Tucker's name being associated with LSU, what did we talk about? Why would you go to LSU? Ed Orgeron won a national championship 2 years ago and is already out.
Right.
They don't want him anymore.
Did they sleep with a few students or something?
He brings his girlfriends to the practice.
Oh, okay.
But what have you done?
Other stuff too.
What have you done for me lately? Kind of attitude, right? I mean, why would you go to LSU unless you win the national championship every year? You're out. So the pressure to win at LSU each and every year was significant. At Michigan State, you win the Big Ten championship maybe 2-3 years out of every 10. Pop into the national play.
Better know what the Michigan's done.
Well, I'm saying what the expectation would be, right? You pop into the college football playoff 1 or 2 times out of 10. You can you beat Michigan 5 times out of 10. You're doing good. Now, does that salary give you LSU-like expectations, or because all the money is just plopped on the table these days, does it even matter? Are the expectations still the ho-hum?
I think their expectations have been higher for years now. I don't think they're the same Michigan State expectations that they had in 2000.
No, I agree with you.
I think they're already been there. Like let's not forget, this team went to the playoffs 7 years ago.
Right.
Well, Mark D'Antonio did. I think he won 4 Big Ten titles or 5, something around that area. Like the expectations are up to them, to their franchise, to their brand. But they're already up.
I'm comparing expectations to Ohio State, Alabama.
Right.
Texas A&M. I mean, if you pay your coach, Jimbo Fisher, they got some huge expectations at Texas A&M now because of because of what they pay their coach. When Michigan
just happen to have somebody that people recognize down there at Texas A&M.
When Michigan hired Jim Harbaugh, what was our expectation? Because
they were unfair, but yes, national championship.
And when you pay your coach amongst the top 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches in the country, I think you have to expect a national championship. Do you not?
Bray, was it unfair, really, that we expected to win a Big Ten championship at least when we hired Jim Harbaugh? It's year 7.
When you hired Jim Harbaugh, your expectations weren't Big Ten championship. When we hired Jim Harbaugh, everybody thought national championship. Everybody came in with this national championship. But people forgot 2 things about Michigan. One, Michigan wasn't in the business of winning national championships before Jim Harbaugh. They weren't. Like, we won in '97. Outside of that,
but that's why they paid him $9 million a year.
Okay, but that's not Jim Harbaugh's fault. That's not Jim Harbaugh's fault that they did that they made that mistake. Jim Harbaugh wasn't coming from winning the Pac-12 a bunch of times at Stanford. In fact, he didn't win it at all. Right. He didn't win the Super Bowl, the one he was in. I know he made it, but he didn't win it. So their expectations were high, unfairly so, and He's really gone along in the lines of what Michigan had been before him, a little better than that, but what Michigan had been before them and what he had been before that. With Michigan State, with their brand, what they have now with Tucker, they are paying him because they are happy that he is that they are in the national spotlight. And they want to be there. They want to win national championships. They want to win big titles. But more than anything, they want to stay in the national conversation. They want Joe Klett to talk about it. Big Noon Kickoff. They want ESPN. They want Stephen A. Smith and Colin Cowherd to be talking about Michigan State, which they are. They aren't just paying him to win Big Ten titles or to get to the national championship or the college football playoff. They're paying him because they enjoy being in the conversation. Michigan State is in the conversation every day, from somebody on TV, from somebody on the radio, from some podcast, and they enjoy that. They want that national appeal for the rest of their time. They want it to continue. How do you do that? You pay the man that's in charge when they got there.
But Michigan has always been in the conversation because they are a brand. We've talked about it yesterday. They're the big house. They're the beautiful helmet. They're the Go Blue that you jump out, the alumni club when you're coming out for the kickoff. They're the band. They're the song.
I get that.
So you don't want to be
saying, though.
You don't.
But they haven't won, man.
I know they haven't. So, but we're not talking about Michigan. We're talking about Michigan State.
I know, but I was talking about Harbaugh.
Yeah,
all I wanted first was to beat Michigan State constantly and to beat Ohio State at least every other year, and they hasn't done anything.
Michigan State is paying Mel Tucker, or they're offering to pay him that 10 for 95. They enjoy being popular.
But the only way you stay in the news is if you win games now.
And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. Don't discount it because what happened last year. Last year, I'm sorry, who won the West in the Big Ten? Northwestern.
I don't even know. It was a COVID year. I don't even
Northwestern
remember.
won. Who beat Northwestern last year? Mel Tucker. Who beat Michigan last year? Mel Tucker. This year, Mel Tucker's 9-1. Beat Michigan again. This isn't going to change the way in which he's playing football, the way in which he's coaching. That's not going to change. He's not going to wake up next year and it's like, oh, I forgot how to coach. Oh, I forgot how to get my guy riled up. They are paying because they are, a lesser brand to your point.
One more question to you regarding Mel Tucker. I want to use your question you asked yesterday against you. I'm going to do it next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Hey guys, I want to let you know about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Real good place, real fun place here, and a real stylish place. That's right. Precision haircuts unlike any other. And we're always available here. Open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 3-step process. All you got to do is you walk in the door. Step 1. Number 2, you sign in at the front. That's number 2. And number 3, just sit down and you look handsome and clean. Ooh-wee. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, 10 to 8, several locations in the Metro Detroit area. Look for one nearest you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome. Here's a question I want to ask you, Braylon Edwards.
Yep.
Yesterday, you asked if Jim Harbaugh wins 10 games this year, but loses to Michigan State and Ohio State, should you put an asterisk next to this year for him? What about Mel Tucker? They beat Michigan, which was a great win, down 16 points late in the third quarter. It came back, everything went their way, and they won the game. But what if they get blown out by Ohio State, and then what if they come home and lose to Penn State? I probably won't. Penn State's not very good, in my opinion, anyway. But either way, what if you lose the next two? If you look at that schedule, I mean, is that 9-3? Should there be an asterisk next to Mel Tucker's success this year?
No.
So why would there be one for Jim Harbaugh's?
First of all, there's two different conversations. The question that I asked Tom Van Haren yesterday about that is because that's what's continuously come up since Jim Harbaugh started in 2015. It's, yes, he's got 10 wins, but they're to Indiana, it's Rutgers, it's Maryland, it's Nebraska, it's Purdue, it's Illinois. So that's something that's been asked continuously. So that's why I brought the question up to Tom Van Haren. Now with Mel Tucker, right now at this very moment, he's 9-1. He beat Michigan twice. He beat him last year. He beat him this year. Nobody gave him a chance. Now here he is sitting at 9-1. He understands the transfer portal. He's got the Heisman Trophy candidate, probably not number 1 right now, but he's 2 or 3 in the equation. His team is playing well. They have an opportunity to get to the playoffs. All that is on the table right now. The Michigan State Regents and the donors and the alums, they like that. They like what they've seen. They've seen enough in terms of trying to offer him 10 for 95 to get him to come back and continue this brand of football. The brand of football that he's shown in this season alone, not even last year, this season alone, it has been more than enough sample size to know that that's the brand of football that I want. In terms of on the field, that's what I want to see in East Lansing. That's what I trust to go to Ann Arbor and Columbus, not so much Purdue, but trust that to go to those places, get those wins. I like that. I like the opportunity we have, and he's only going to get better. He's only going to get more ingrained into the culture, but stay who he is, his NFL roots, the things that he knows about the NFL. That's what helped him in the transfer portal. His job as defensive coordinator in Jacksonville, he talked about that. So I've seen enough. So in terms of asterisk, I think it's two different conversations. I think you're talking about one that has already happened with Michigan and Harbaugh continuously over the 7 years that he's been there. That's something different. That's just a hypothetical. Like, what if he loses? All right, he loses. But he's done enough so far to garner that offer, to get that offer. And I think he's done enough to get that offer. And I think moving forward, his brand doesn't change. It gets better.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You said you see a lot of similarities between the 2015 MSU team and this 2021.
Yeah, Fox put up a great graphic. Let's put that up, Alex, and let's read them up.
So comparison, the date was very close. November 21st in 15, November 20th in 2021. Number 9 MSU, number 2 OSU in 2015. This year it's number 7 and number 4. Michigan State 9-1, MSU 10-0. similar records this year. Ohio State entered on a 30-game regular season win streak versus Big Ten opponents in 2015. Ohio State on a 25-game regular season win streak against the Big Ten. Urban Meyer entered the season in 2015 unbeaten in regular seasons versus the Big Ten as Ohio State coach. Ryan Day enters unbeaten in the regular season versus the Big Ten as Ohio State head coach. There are similarities. What was anybody know what the number was in that game?
17-14.
Like what the,
you mean the spread? I really don't know.
I don't know those now.
It'll probably be at least 10 to 12 points, probably.
Look, anytime the Spartans have a guy like Kenneth Walker, they got a chance. I am very curious to see this game, and I like that it's being played at noon. And it gets me to thinking about noon games as well, guys. There's so much talk about everybody loves playing in prime time, and the prime time game is the one that is the most viewed. That is not the case. Let me put this statistic up. This is also from Fox. The top college football TV windows through week 11. Fox Big Noon. The noon game on Fox has more viewers than the CBS 3:30 slot, which is the SEC slot, and the ABC primetime slot. More people are watching football games at noon than they are in ABC primetime and CBS 3:30 window, which is the SEC. And I am big, right, no pun intended, on the noon kickoff. I love the noon kickoff. Michigan, Ohio State is playing at noon. Michigan State played at noon. There is just something about 12 p.m. on Saturday afternoon that just says college football to me. And maybe for the last 10, 15, even, dare I say, 20 years, so sexy to play under the lights in a 7:30 or 8 o'clock primetime game. But this season, anyway, noon is coming to play.
I think what's happening with the big noon kickoff is, one, they do an amazing job at the desk. Reggie Bush is really good. Matt Leinart is really good. Our friend of the show, Brady Quinn, is really good. Bob Stoops is pretty decent. They do a great job of bringing the show on from 10 to when the show starts at 12.
Is good,
The lead-in is very good. The topics are very good. Their chemistry is very good. They bring in good guests. They do a good job going around the college landscape. And the biggest thing is they choose good games.
Mm-hmm.
They have chosen good games because they get first crack at it. And they have picked some good games this year. Starting, with Michigan State, that was a layup for them. Ended up being a much better game than I'm pretty sure they could imagine. They do a good job picking the games. The games actually end up playing out well. They do a great job with the coverage. It's great chemistry. It's fun and it's fresh. And I think you see the lead-in. You have the lead-in, and then the game happens at 12. I think a lot of times with game day, you'll have game day. Game day starts at 9:30 or whenever it starts, and it leads you in until noon. But then the game isn't until 7. Until 7:30.
That's right.
So you have to watch game day,
point.
and then you got to wait 7 hours to see those guys again.
Great
Kurt
point.
Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. Man, you get all that up until 12, and then 12 you get the game that they've been talking about. Then you get them at halftime. Then you get them post-game, and then you can do whatever the hell you want to do on Saturday.
That's a great point.
Hey, look, as a guy sitting home watching the game, I love the noon game.
Yeah.
Student? No. No, because the student sections are empty for noon games until they fill up at halftime. Then they're gone probably before the fourth quarter if the game isn't very good. So as a student, I would say noon games suck, especially if you got a huge game. The student section, they want to get lathered up. Let's face it.
But that's only pretty much if you're a home games. You're 100% right. If it's home games, yes. But it works for fans or students if it's not a home game, because they can get lathered up all night Friday, and then they can wake up and lay in the house and watch it around the house.
You're right, Braylon. 9 times out of 10, ESPN College Game Day is going to be at a site. A site wherever they've taken their show on the road. They've got all those people out there. They're talking about that game, and then you got to wait till 8 o'clock ABC or 7:30 ABC to see that game where they're talking about.
And then recently, Game Day, and I appreciate they're getting everybody involved. They're going to black colleges. They're going to some smaller schools instead, some 1AA, some things like that. And sometimes the games that don't have anything to do with the landscape. Like sometimes they don't even seem excited to be where they are. And then those aren't the games that you talk about. They're not involved in the college playoff. They're not involved with the top 25, whether it's the AP coaches or CFB. They're not. It doesn't even matter where they are. They're trying to pander to too many crowds and too many places and campuses. They're trying to do that. Big noon kickoff, everywhere they are, matters. The game comes right on after, it matters. And then it focuses on the landscape of college football. That's another reason why sometimes stuff that they do at game day just doesn't matter.
And they have had the best games. You're right. You're talking about Michigan State. This week it's Michigan State, Ohio State. Last week it was Oklahoma, Baylor. I mean, that was a big top.
They had UCLA and Oregon some weeks back.
These are big games.
ABC's got this week's game, though.
ABC has this week's game?
ABC has got Michigan State, Ohio State.
Well, that'll be a highly viewed game for ABC this week.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably be our guy, Sean McDonough, on the call.
Thankfully, because I would be looking for Fox. Where's the football game?
Where's that
football game?
They have an off-brand game this week.
Where's that football game?
Yeah, Fox is doing Iowa State.
Oh, yeah, they got Big 12. Big 12 game.
Speaking of a guy that was trying to get paid.
Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
I like him.
I like him too. Like
we might have hired the wrong Campbell.
He may have been focused too much on trying to get paid and not this season in terms of getting his kids
ready to play. Weren't they like number 7 coming into the season? And now they're unranked.
And they lost to Iowa in the opening game.
Goes to show you how quickly it can fall, guys.
Oh, yeah.
But
don't forget, Iowa State is not – he put him there. He got him in the top 10.
What are you talking about?
Good call, man.
The Cyclones –
come on, man.
Yeah, go try
Go ahead.
Try it.
The Cyclones have been masters of the they've been masters of the
Matt Campbell's
Big,
a hell of a
Big 12
coach.
conference. We'll take a break, come right back. Hour number 2. And stay tuned for the Turkey Games word of the day. Coming up next, Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Woodward Sports is giving you a chance to sit front row on Thanksgiving. All you have to do is survive our squid game. Nope, our turkey games. Listen every day to the Morning Woodward Show at 9 a.m. Big D Energy at noon. And the bottom line at 3 p.m. for your chance to qualify. The winner of turkey games will get tickets to the Thanksgiving Day Detroit game.
Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
Plus a turkey. So if you think you can master our Turkey Games challenges, watch, listen, and win. Make sure you're following @Woodward Sports on all social media or go to woodwardsports.com for additional chances to qualify. May the best turkey win.
Hey, gang, it's Maz for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck and their great hosts, Chris and Noni Hutt. Make sure you tell them Maz sent you. What's foaling? Well, I'm going to bowling tonight. I can tell you what that is. But foaling is actually throwing a football at bowling pins. Man, I'd like to do that tonight a couple of times. That should be fun. But foaling is a phenomenal game, and you can do it with a whole group of people. Make it your corporate party or a big team building event like we're going to do here at Woodward Sports. 2 ways to play. $10 unlimited open play. You can go in the beginning. You can stay till they close, or you can do a private lane reservation. $120 for 10 people. You get it for 2 hours. They also have over 100 beers, and they got that $2 mystery beer machine. They also have a fully stocked bar, a couple of them. And you can also bring your own food in, have it delivered, whatever you'd like. Get your foal on at the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You got to check them out at foalingwarehouse.com.
The Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns are both dealing with their sets of injuries. And you know one person who is not making excuses for that heading into Sunday's game? Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn.
That's football. We have injuries too, so no one cares. They're not going to stop the games. All right, we're going to play this week. And I think they have a good offense. I mean, you look at how they run the ball. I think they're first across the board. So that tells you exactly who they are. I think they have probably, if not the best running back, one of them in Chubb. So again, man, we look forward to playing against these teams like this, all right? Because if they're number one, we want to see exactly how we match up. So we look forward to it.
There you heard it from Aaron Glenn. This is Corey Woods with the Woodward Sports Network with your Detroit Lions update.
And we thank our Corey Woods.
Yes, sir.
He is our Woodward Sports Lions beat reporter.
He's been providing some good videos, man. Some good content, good videos.
Absolutely.
Gets us our fresh sound every day.
There you go.
Very good. Lions 0-8-1 on the year. Traveled to the Cleveland Browns. Where Cleveland has had some problems offensively as well. Baker Mayfield, will he or won't he play this week? Case Keenum, the backup there. I'd almost rather see Baker than Case Keenum if I'm a Lions fan. Also, Detroit is it fair to say likely be without Jared Goff this week?
I think so.
That's what it sounded like when we played the clips yesterday talking about Jared. Listening to him, he just didn't seem like he was going to play this week. Dan Campbell kind of seems like he wants to protect Jared Goff maybe from himself. So I think you see TB12.
No Taylor Decker today.
What's his problem?
Not sure. Maybe he's got his feelings hurt still. Not sure. Flowers, Jefferson, they were out as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Poor guy.
Forward. Taylor Decker had a bad week.
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
leaving it alone.
He did. He was good on the field, but bad week. So, yeah.
What can you say?
What do you say about the Lions? I mean, seriously, like, the only thing you could say about the Lions, I think, would be if Tim Boyle starts,
right,
and Tim Boyle has a decent game, heaven forbid throws a touchdown pass in the first half of a football game.
First quarter.
It's coming.
Can you imagine if Tim Boyle threw a touchdown pass?
I think he is.
We'd be like, oh, we haven't seen one of those in a long time. What's that?
If he throws a pass over 8 yards, it's gonna be something.
Well, Josh Reynolds will play, right?
Yeah, Josh Reynolds.
Our expectation level is just so low.
Right. I mean, we're just trying to score a touchdown in the first half, maybe throw it.
Jamal Williams back in the lineup this week. That's going to help.
That's huge.
Because the running game was great last week. It could be better this week against the banged-up Browns defense, but Myles Garrett he's on the warpath. I wouldn't throw it that
Chubb
much
is
this
back
week.
too. I think Chubb is back for the Browns.
No, not yet. Not sure. Kareem Hunt for sure is out. Chubb still with COVID protocol.
He has to test. I think he has
still
to test by
two
Friday.
negative. Yeah, he's got 2 more negatives to get by.
I would not mess with Myles Garrett this week.
Don't try not to throw.
My entire game plan would be to
Away
stop
from him.
Myles Garrett or to minimize his impact on the game. Because, he's calling out his coaching staff last week, saying that basically we got out-coached in that game. And, usually what happens the next week is that person comes to play.
It's a warpath.
I would not want to be Tim Boyle this week.
And the bad thing about it is it's not like he's the only player on that defensive line. Like you say, you know what, hey, I'm going away from Myles Garrett. We'll go somewhere else. They also have Jadeveon Clowney. They also have Malik Jackson from that came over from the Rams, who the Rams are actually missing. So they have players that can cause the same amount of chaos. So it's going to be interesting, man, especially if they get Chubb back as well. They're pissed off.
We always talk about that, Braylon, offensively, right? I mean, Braylon Edwards is lined up out there. Take Braylon Edwards out of the game and make somebody else beat you on that offense.
Right.
We don't say that a lot about the defense, do we? Yeah. Basically, in other words,
there's only a couple players. Don't throw to this guy.
Exactly, like a Revis Island or something like that.
Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, maybe Myles Garrett, maybe T.J. Watt. It's a lot of good defensive players, but it's not a lot of players like that right now to where you're like, don't throw to that guy or at that guy, or don't run around that guy or try to drop back with that guy. It's only.
But offensively, was there a time that you can draw on or remember where you guys said, you know what, we're playing Myles Garrett this week. I'm going to make somebody else beat me defensively. We're not doing anything in the direction of Myles Garrett or something. And maybe that's just me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm saying, we do it on offense so many times. I'm not letting player X beat me.
No,
I'm going to player Y.
There were times, like when we would play against Champ Bailey, like if the number one receiver, which was me, if I wasn't lined up on Champ Bailey, a quarterback's not going to throw to back up on Champ Bailey. Revis, before I played on the same team as him, when I played against him, they wouldn't throw on Revis. Trying to think of some other names. Oh, Terrell Suggs. We stayed away from Terrell Suggs. Mm-hmm. Terrell Suggs was a world beater. We stayed away from him. We kept our calls and quiet down when we played the Ravens because Ray knew everything. Ed knew everything. There were places that we stayed away from. We were like, hey, let's double team this guy. Let's give Joe some help on the left side and the back side. Let's stay over here with the protection. So there were a couple players.
Hey, did you guys catch Hard Knocks last night?
I did not.
I loved it.
Was it good?
I loved it. It was like old school Hard Knocks. It was Colts. First time they've done this in game, in season. I watched it on HBO Max. It's on 10 o'clock on Wednesday nights. but I caught it on the on demand. And they basically concentrated on the families. Like you want to see these guys, their family. Darius Leonard, I forgot how freaking good he is, called the Maniac out in Indianapolis. 2-time Pro Bowl, 3-time Pro Bowler. He's a stud, this guy.
Yeah, he is.
They told him, since he was in Pee Wee football, you're too small. You're too small in high school, too small in college, too small in the pros. He's the best guy on that team. You see how he plays injured. Last week, they beat Jacksonville. They go into the game. They show you Carson Wentz. Him and his wife just had their second daughter. 2 other Indianapolis Colts also had daughters as well, or are having daughters. So it was really cool. I love seeing Frank Reich. It took you back to when Frank Reich was with the Eagles, and he visited Carson Wentz out in North Dakota, out in Fargo, North Dakota. And you see Carson Wentz as a young guy, and these guys just hit it off so much that Frank Reich could not wait to get him on the Colts. And the minute that Philly kind of soured with him, he told the general manager, "Go get this guy for me. You're not going to be disappointed." They start 0-3 this year, and we said it. They're the best 5-5 team in football. Watch out for them in the second half.
Yeah, you're definitely right. What happens with Hard Knocks is it adds that human element.
Yeah.
Like it's the humanization of these athletes, of these Adonises, of these guys. Because when you just look at the football players as fans, a lot of times they don't look at players as human. It's like this is that guy that just goes out there and play. He's not human. He can't do anything wrong. He shouldn't do anything wrong. He should be above, reproach and things of that nature. Then when they added fantasy football, it made it even worse. Then really fans were like, the hell with them. Like I used to meet old ladies in the airport. Like it's like right when fantasy football
They'd
first
be mad
started.
at you.
Like Yahoo Sports. And back before that, it's like, oh, you play that so nice. Insert fantasy football. And I was like, hey man, you didn't get 30, you didn't get 40 yards last week. I was like, hey, hi to you too. So it invites that human element where you're kind of like, oh man, this guy has a family. This guy puts his pants on one pant at a time, like I do. So
he's not a click. He's not a point and click. He's not just some name on some.
It's not a like or dislike.
You see Darius Leonard putting his little girl's hair in a ponytail. You see him fixing his kid's hair and throwing her up in the air. I giggled because when I see them with their kids, it reminds you of their fathers.
And it reminds me of, remember the Cincinnati Hard Knocks? Now, it wasn't necessarily a great Hard Knocks, but remember the defensive lineman and his daughter, and I think she had cancer.
Oh, my God,
remember that story?
Of course.
And she ends up beating it, and then he won an Oscar. Like the next won an Oscar, he won NFL Man of the Year.
Love that. I can look it up in a second.
But like that right there, that story was heartwarming. And you see how fast you can bring it up and relate it to that, man. Like HBO does a really good job. With Hard Knocks, sometimes it seems like they've gotten back to it, at least according to Matt, so I love it.
There's no doubt about that. Maz is going to find that quickly, too, because you got it.
Devin Still.
Yep, Devin Still.
Yep,
that's
Still.
right.
There you go.
So great. Guys.
Leah is her name.
Yes.
Beautiful Leah.
Hey, say hi to Alex over here as well. He's got Paul Bunyan. He's got Paul Bunyan over there. Say hi to Paul Bunyan.
You got
there
Paul
it is.
Bunyan?
Paul Bunyan. Just letting the people know. Hey, Kelly Stafford was in the news as well. And CBS Sports put up perhaps one of the most eye-opening statistics regarding your Detroit Lions. It tells you all you need to know, actually, about where they are this year. We'll do it all next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
It took 50 different formulas, but guess what? Adam and Mike, they figured it out with Gypsy Vodka. Check this out. Gluten-free, distilled 6 times, and infused with artisanal spring water. This stuff is amazing. Not only is it taste good, not only is it good for you, well, as good as alcohol can be. Look at the bottle. Look at the artwork. Look at the art. If you can watch right now, if you're watching at home, look at the artwork on this bottle. Look at the prisms. Look at the glass. This thing is nice. These things are really nice. I'm excited. I've had it. It's not bad. But if you have it, if you get it, make sure you drink responsibly.
gluten-free, too.
No,
right up my
Check
alley.
that out, man.
Right up my alley.
That'll save you some cows.
Come on. Hey, guys, Kelly Stafford in the news once again.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
This was TMZ. Matthew Stafford's wife, Kelly, is apologizing for chucking a pretzel at a fan during the Rams-49ers game, calling it a weak moment. Somebody called her out online, and she replied like, "Hey, girl, I know. I'm so sorry.
Poor Matthew Stafford.
Gotta protect my man.
Poor
I'll always
Matthew
stand up for my
Stafford.
man. I know, not a good example. I'll be better."
Listen, at the end of the day, this is what bothers me. The reason why this bothers me, I'll give you an example. It's a very similar situation to, and we talked about it off the show yesterday. It's a very similar situation to Gloria James. That is LeBron James' mother. When he was in Cleveland, she was always, I was in Cleveland at the time playing for the Browns, so I went to a lot of Cavs games. She was always getting into it with fans and ushers and throwing stuff, and she had a foul mouth. And you even remember the moment when LeBron had to yell at her on national TV. I think it was a Christmas game, and they were playing the San Antonio Spurs. He said something along the lines of, shut the F up and sit down, which, you shouldn't say your mother's. But I understand. The reason why this is a big, and then so they made her start watching the games in the press box. The big thing that I have a problem with in these situations is because you are a representation of the player. Like, whatever you do, you get into fights and stands, when you argue with people on Twitter and social media and you're yelling and cussing it, especially when the person that you represent isn't that type of person. Like, if you are married to Kevin Durant and you're going on Twitter rants about KD, well, you know what? Your husband goes on Twitter rants. So it makes sense. But like Matt Stafford's not the guy out there throwing pretzels with people. He's not getting into fights publicly. He's not going on Twitter rants. He's not going against people. Don't do that. You are a representation, and everybody's going to attach it to you. Like, nobody's going to talk about Kelly. It's Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is, on Twitter rants. Well, at least his wife is this, that, and the third. When you are a representative of an individual that plays ball, you represent that person. You represent that last name. Sit your ass down. Sit your ass down. Watch the game. Cheer for your man. Get into it. But don't get into it with fans. It's no need for that. There's no need for that. It's just not.
Yeah, but what if a bunch of drunk a-holes were yapping at her at that game, at that San Francisco game? I don't know what happened, but
what if a bunch of drunk and individuals yapping at her? What's the best that can come of that? You're a woman. You're a young woman.
I know.
You're a young woman, and you get into it with some drunk guys. Guys are idiots when they drunk. And then we've seen all this West Coast stuff at all these West Coast games. What if these guys are really buttholes and they get physical?
Was she sitting in the stands too?
I'm not sure. I think
that's what
so.
it sounds like.
It sounds like she was sitting in the stands, which begs another question.
Lucky she didn't do this in Philly.
Right. What are you doing sitting in the stands too? Like,
it's a road game.
Can you get a suite, or do you gotta go? Do you gotta go to the game?
Why don't you go to the game? It's in the same state.
If you can't control yourself,
it's Monday Night Football.
You can sit in the upper deck like Jordan loves.
If you can't control yourself, if you're the quarterback's wife, and you know you're going to a road game where they're going to talk negatively about the quarterback, it's not like my wife goes sit in the stands. Nobody knows where she is. She is out there.
Yeah.
She herself is a public figure.
No, you go to the games. You just behave yourself.
Yeah.
You go to games like this is a conversation that Matt and Kelly need to have. You say, "Hey, listen, babe, I love you. I appreciate
you." For the 800th time.
Like for the 800th time, like you gotta either calm down. You gotta pipe down. Because if you can't, then you can't come on the road.
She's got guts though.
Like if you can't, she's got guts because she's Kelly freaking Stafford, and nobody's gonna do anything. Like
she's a sweet lady.
She's very nice.
I know she's a sweet lady. You change conversations as we're having conversations. Like in one breath, we're just talking about she's got guts.
True.
As
He's
I'm
right,
trying to
Maz,
explain
by
why
the way.
she has guts, she's a sweet lady. I didn't even finish why she had guts. I don't even know why.
Right, I know. He's
she
right.
Is a
by
sweet
the
Why
way.
do you let me get under your skin?
She is a sweet lady, but she just needs to relax. And if she can't relax, then something's gonna happen. And we won't be able to just talk about it nice and free like this. Something else serious is going to happen if she doesn't pipe down.
Lucky Zach Stacy wasn't with her.
I was.
God.
Come on, that's not right.
I'm joking, man.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I want to ask you guys something while we're talking about the Rams for a second. They're 7-3. They've lost 3 games. Well, so they're 1-2 against teams with a winning record.
Right.
But
Charles about par for Matt Stafford.
But they've got. Let me tell you guys. They've got the Packers coming up. They've got the Cardinals coming up. They got the Seahawks coming up. They're at the Vikings. They're at the Ravens. They play the 49ers again. Let me ask you guys. What about the Lions? Isn't it time that you as a Lions fan have to start thinking real long and hard of what if you get to I mean, could they go wait,
what?
Could that first pick
gotcha.
Could you tack on all these losses here to where you think that first round pick was going to be 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 to now where you're thinking maybe it's going to be 17, 18, 19, or 20. I think that could be a real possibility now when you look at the LA Rams.
No, you're 100% correct. It could be a much better pick than you initially thought. It's much better than you could have hoped for. Here's an interesting thing. Side note, I'm going to jump back into it. The Rams haven't played great since they played the Lions. The Rams have been very mediocre since they played the Lions.
The Lions uncovered them.
Like if you think back, the Rams, they haven't been great. They've won 2 games. One of those games wasn't impressive at all. But to your
They beat the Texans since they beat the Lions. That's it. It's your only win.
Exactly. But that's good news for the Lions. It's good news for the Pigs. Like, hey, and also, here's even another thing. Now everybody who was so on the bandwagon of Matt Stafford at the beginning of the year, reading the articles, everybody was drinking the Kool-Aid, drinking it up. Now Detroiters that know Matt Stafford well, now people in the front office with the Detroit Lions, like they're starting to like, we told you.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people in Detroit are
Big
like,
I told you fans today.
A lot of people are like, we told you. Like, hey, we knew he played well in the beginning, but we knew there was a chance, a huge chance, that it could turn into just regular football and you're not looking at anything special. I know it's early. There's a lot of football left to be played. But, is the honeymoon over?
They haven't talked about him. The national folks have not talked about Matthew Stafford in kind of the last 3 weeks.
He's not in the MVP race right now.
Yeah,
he hasn't been in that.
It's quieted down a little bit, but I think he'll ramp it up again. Yeah. At least, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, just looking at a MVP.
They got Josh Allen's 1.
Dak Prescott, Tom Brady,
2,
Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford is in this list.
Even Brady's kind of trimmed. Think about it. The Buccaneers aren't the same team, but they did this last year too, if you remember, and they kind of picked it up again.
And their defense picked it up for them towards the end of the year. What's going on with them? They got found out because their secondary is bad. The secondary is bad, and the middle of the field is bad. And Ndamukong Suh hasn't played well for them in the middle of the field. I mean, the middle and the 3 technique hasn't played well. Hasn't stopped the run. Hasn't got to the quarterback. Hasn't stuffed it up for the guys on the outside to be able to get in. And then in the secondary, all you have to do is throw the ball in the middle of the field.
Has Richard Sherman played?
No, they put him on IR today.
Okay.
Put him on IR. Yeah. And he was having such an amazing season. So.
And they got, like I said, they got time still.
Yeah,
there's still time.
Plenty of time. It's a long season, man.
And they have TB12.
It's a long season. Hey, CBS put this stat out on the Lions, just how bad they are. I want to throw it up for you if you're watching on YouTube. Every NFC team, every single team in the NFC, that's 16 teams, right? 15 of them are at least within 1 game of the postseason in the loss column.
Yeah.
Except one. The Detroit Lions are the only team in the NFC. 15 of 16 are all bunched up together, and then there's the Lions at 0-8-1. It did not have to be this bad. It just didn't.
But they could have won a couple.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
They did not. Like, you know, that's the big thing. The shoulda, woulda, coulda. You coulda, but you didn't. I think we have to deal in definitives with this conversation. They could have won games, but they didn't. So that's why they are 0-8-1, and it's bad.
Think about it, man. The Raven game was theirs, and the Viking game was theirs. 2 freak accidents almost. Call it what you want. Rushing 2-3 guys. Those are the 2 big mistakes that Dan Campbell made this year. If he's got 2 wins going in now, he's right where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, a little bit different of a conversation.
Right, now he's got, you could see
weight
it on
to
him.
the world on
He's
him.
got the weight of the world on him. Took the play calling away from Coach Lynn. Stuff like that. It all turned on 2 plays this year. 2 plays.
Yeah, but truth be told, I love when we're dealing with definitives, and in the definitive, they're not. They haven't won a game, whether they could have or not.
Right.
Now, if you
Same
wanna,
horseshoes.
And then if you want to say it's 2 plays, it's not 2 plays. How did they get into that position? How did they get into the position to lose those games?
Well, they were better teams. It
was more than 2 plays that led to that loss. Obviously, we're pointing out to the 2 plays, but it was more than 2 plays that got them.
Always
beat. They
is.
haven't won. Yeah, we could play the what if game. You know, what if? All right, what if Willis McGahee doesn't blow his knee out? Ohio State beats Miami.
He's a lion.
He's a lion. What if the Atlanta Falcons chose to keep running the ball like they were doing in the first half? You would never have 28-3. It wouldn't be a meme because they would be the Super Bowl champions. What if Kevin Durant wore a smaller size shoe? Then they would have gone to the NBA Finals and not Giannis Antetokounmpo because he stepped on the line because he wore size 16. What if? We live in a world of definitives, and the definitive point, they are 0-8-1, and like Ryan said, it did not have to be this bad.
That's the old classic. What if my aunt had a pair of you-know-what? She'd be my uncle.
It's true.
Guys, Thursday night football, Falcons host the Patriots in a rematch. He just mentioned it. Of Super Bowl 51, Maz's favorite Super Bowl. We'll get into that next.
What a
also,
tale of 2 lives.
Chris Prince, Beer Man, going to join us 2-0 on Thursday Night Football since he's joined us here on the program. So we'll get Beer Makers
and college. Maybe he's going to pick the Spartans this week.
Maybe. We'll ask him. We'll get to that in about 12 minutes from now. But we're talking Thursday Night Football. We'll do it next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
You know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Hey guys, I want to let you know about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac in Dearborn on Michigan Avenue. You want to buy a car? They've got one for you. Don't worry about that chip shortage. Inventory starting to come back a little bit. And if it's not a new car, hey, look at that pre-owned lot. Any make, any model, right there for you. Lot is looking good. Also, if you don't want to buy a car, how about selling them your car? You're coming up on your miles. You want to get rid of it. You think you can get through the next couple of months. Maybe you got somebody working from home and you can get through the next couple of months less a car.
I want out.
You want out. Maz wants out. He's going to talk to one of the guys over there at Les Stanford Chevrolet. Doesn't matter whether you own the car or lease the car because Les Stanford is your authorized lease return center. You can do it no matter if you got the car from them or not. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com. 313-565-6000, 313-565-6000. Give them a call today. Les Stanford Chevrolet, find new roads. Guys, I want to get into this Thursday night football game tonight. So many people are calling it a rematch of Super Bowl 51. I hate that stuff, actually. Yeah. I don't know why. I think that's so silly. No, it's not you. I heard other sports talk today talking about the 28-3 Super Bowl game, and it's basically completely different teams. But nonetheless, the Falcons host the Patriots tonight. Patriots a 7-point favorite. Patriots getting a lot of respect. They have just been beating teams silly this year. You want to talk about a team that's really made a bit of a comeback. New England started out the year, just goes to show you what a long season it is. Patriots start out the year 1-3. They have
with the rookie quarterback.
They have won 5 of their next 6, just really on a tear. And Mac Jones looks like the best quarterback of the group so far.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, you look at the Patriots and what they've done. You don't want to discredit Bill Belichick. You don't want to discredit Mac Jones, the young quarterback. But yeah, they beat the Jets twice. I don't count that for too much. They beat Sam Darnold in Carolina. Sam Darnold's not even the quarterback anymore for the Panthers. With that being said, they have continued the course. I think they like flying under the radar, and that's what they've been doing. And now they play another team in the Falcons that don't have a winning record, that are in shambles. Here's an interesting question. Is it time to go away from the Matt Ryan experience? Like, Matt Ryan's a quarterback that we never mentioned in terms of, like, what are the Falcons going to do next? Are they going to get a new quarterback? Is it time for them to draft a new quarterback? Matt Ryan has been there since 2008. And although in the last 10 seasons he's thrown for 4,100 yards or more and 20 touchdowns, now you look at last year's record, what were he, 7-9, or what was it? I got the record: 7-9, 7-9, 10-6, 11-5, Super Bowl year. Then it was 8-8, 6-10, 4-12. Is it time for them to make a new direction in terms of the quarterback position? I know he's still having 4,000-yard seasons, but the reason why I ask is they always goes the way of the offensive coordinator. Like, every time they have a bad year or a good year and something changes, it's like, well, they got rid of Stefanski, or they got rid of Sarkisian, or it's always they've gotten rid of an offensive coordinator. Matt Ryan has been playing long enough to where I would imagine he can take some control of the games. They used to always blame the offensive coordinator for Julio Jones and Ryan not connecting in the end zone. Matt Ryan, you've been there long enough. Why can't you call plays to get Julio Jones the ball in red zone? Why couldn't you get Julio Jones the ball? I think it might be time to go away from Matt Ryan. He's got it flies under the radar, and nobody ever says anything about it.
Matt Ryan and Matt Stafford are basically separated at birth. They were always the same guy, except Matt Ryan won some playoff games and got his team to a Super Bowl. But saying that, I thought they were going to take a quarterback this year. I said for sure they got to take a quarterback at 4. But they took the unicorn. They took Kyle Pitts, who's going to turn out to be a stud. Yeah. But what good is it if you don't have your quarterback?
The problem is the contract, though.
Same team as the Lions. They missed the boat again.
They do have a potential out on Matt Ryan after 2022. Yeah. But look, you're talking about $40 million on a dead cap.
They're not the same as the Lions, by the way. Not even close.
On a dead cap. So you got to go with him one more year at least.
I love the guy.
One more year for Matt Ryan, and then you can get rid of him. That doesn't mean you can't draft somebody this year, but I think they're going to.
Nobody to draft.
Yeah, there's nobody to draft this year.
Pick it.
Right? I think if the Rams would have traded for Matt Ryan, it would have been almost the same as trading for Matthew Stafford, to be perfectly honest with you.
Could have been the case. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe slight tad more mobility out of Stafford, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then
he won playoff games.
But you look at the.
It's something about Matt Ryan, though. Like, he has a lot of success stat-wise.
He's a statistics guy.
Statistic-wise, he's good. But it's something when, like, Matt Stafford has it. Like, I don't know what it is, but Matt just doesn't have it. Like, he just doesn't seem like he can make that play when I need it. It doesn't seem like he has that attitude or that emotion. I mean, you don't have to have emotion. There's players that have had success that don't have emotion. But it's just something that it seems like he lacks. Like, whenever I'm looking at a Matt Ryan team, it doesn't seem like he's the leader of the team. It doesn't seem like he's in control of the team. He seems like a guy that does what he's supposed to. He studies film. He's there. You can trust him. You can lead on him. He's a nice guy. He just doesn't have that leadership. I can feel
Didn't they say that about Stafford, too? Because he wasn't fiery enough?
But you saw it out of Stafford.
So you're looking at...
You saw it out of Stafford.
I'm just looking at the Atlanta Falcons schedule right now. You're looking at 2 or 3 more wins from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, they're 4-5 right now. They could essentially, get in. I just told you the stat that every team in the NFC is within 1 game of being in that last wild
and
card
that division
in the
is
NFC.
up for grabs right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, if the Falcons are sitting there at 7-10, I mean, sitting in no man's land. Yeah, I mean, would Calvin Ridley have meant the difference tonight or against the 49ers or against the Saints? Obviously, he's a really good player. You weren't expecting not to have Calvin Ridley either. But that, good for that young man recognizing what he needs to do for himself. We certainly applaud him, and I think Calvin Ridley taking time for his mental health is helping not only himself, but helping so many other people who might be unwilling to do that or unwilling to help themselves. I think he's a model of what to do if you're struggling. But on the football side of things, you were expecting to have him. And would he significantly impact Matt Ryan moving forward? Obviously, it'd be better to have him on the field than have him off the field. But
they can't run the ball either.
The Atlanta Falcons, to me, are just kind of like a nothing team. They're they are the perfect 4-5 team, right? They're the perfect 7-10 team, aren't they?
Yeah, a little even more than that. Like, I just look at Matt Ryan's career. Okay, and you said they were like the Lions, and this is where I disagree. If you look at Matt Ryan's career since he's been there, in terms of the offensive production that they've had, or in terms of offensive players, he's always always been surrounded by talent. Like, for what he's had in his career, I don't think he's done enough. Like, literally, I can go down a list of wide receivers. He had Roddy White when he first came in. He had Julio Jones forever. He had Calvin Ridley. He had Mohamed Sanu. He had Taylor Gabriel. He had Tony Gonzalez.
Lots of weapons.
Tony Gonzalez towards the end. They had Hooper was down there when Hooper was first coming out. Austin Hooper. They've had one of the best centers in the last 15 years. You can argue that Alex Mack is the best center the NFL has seen in the last 12, 15 years. They've had him legitimately his whole tenure almost in Atlanta. They've had an offensive line. They've even revamped the defense at times. They put so much in front of them. Every year you looked on paper, and what do they always say about the Falcons before the season starts? Man, they got the squad. They're going to do it. No, they look good on paper. Because when the season starts, they turn into what you talked about, Ryan, 7-9. Mm-hmm. They turn those guys that they don't win the big game. They lose the big games. They can't win the championship. If you look at his career, he has not done enough with the weapons and the things that he's had, the talent that he's played with. That's just my opinion.
We're going to talk to Chris Prince, beer makers fan on Twitter, of course. There's a lot going on. We'll talk to him about the Thursday night game. He's 2-0 since his appearances here on The Bottom Line. Woodward Sports Network, Ermanni and Edwards.
The Bottom Line.
Sorry to steal that.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Woodward Sports. This part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
All right, let's bring him in. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Prince, Beer. You can follow him on Twitter at BeerMakersFan. Woodward Bets, weeknights, 6 o'clock here on Woodward Sports Network. Chris, 2-0 on Thursday Night Football since your appearances here on The Bottom Line, my friend. How are you this week, and how you feeling? You shake it out a little bit, you know? You got to kind of do some stretches and everything like that. Feeling good on a Thursday.
Unmute, Chris.
Are we on mute? Is this about your?
Look at
there we
go. There we are.
Come on, Chris.
I wanted to make sure Maz was doing his job.
Yeah, beer. I think you hit the beer first there, Chris.
Don't tell anybody. It's too early.
Start over now.
It's 5 somewhere, baby.
That's right. Braylon knows. So I was saying, this wet weather, the cold weather, you start feeling those aches and pains, Ryan. Definitely.
Especially as a mailman.
But yes, there you go. But guys, great to be here as always. So ready for some more football this weekend.
Well, we're looking at tonight's game, and last Thursday night we talked about the old stinker where you close your eyes and you pray because it looked so obvious to go one way. But anytime it looks so obvious to go one way, you go with option B. Tonight, it looks so obvious that the New England Patriots, they've just rolled last week. The Atlanta Falcons got blown out by 40. The Patriots, a 7-point favorite, now down to 6.5, back up to 7, bouncing back and forth. Which way you going here, Beer? What do you like?
You do have to look at this and say, you have a team in Atlanta that just got blown out. You have a team in New England that just rolled a pretty good Cleveland Browns team. Why is the spread only 6.5? And anytime I see a 6.5, I start questioning it. It feels like the books are trying to get you to step into that. It's easy to say, well, it's not 7. All they have to do is win by a touchdown. So that being said, I can't back these Atlanta Falcons. I'm talking about them. And, this is just a bad team. No Calvin Ridley. You're likely without Cordero Patterson, who's really been your only playmaker.
Yeah, he's been good.
And Kyle Pitts is probably the one guy that Belichick is going to take out of the game. So now you're left with guys like Mike Davis, Wayne Gallman, Russell Gage to make plays. So rather than take a play on the spread here, I do like New England. But I'm going to go under tonight, guys. I see this as kind of an ugly game. I don't know where Atlanta's going to get their points from. This is a very good New England defense, and I don't think New England's going to have to hammer down on the gas pedal here offensively. We get Damian Harris likely back in the lineup. Ramondre Stevenson looked phenomenal last week. So I think they're going to run the ball. Their defense is going to shut this team down. I think it may stay close, which is why I want to kind of stay away from that spread. But I do see an under here. So under 47. My play tonight for Thursday Night Football.
Hey, Chris, Braylon coming at you real quick. Here's a good question. How good are the New England Patriots? You know, at one point I talked about them potentially sneaking into that playoffs, and you never know, not the playoffs, but the AFC Championship. But as I'm watching them, 2 wins are the Jets, 1 win is Sam Darnold, the Panthers. How good are they?
I still have questions as well, Braylon. That they've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat, like you mentioned. Even that Cleveland team last week. I mean, no Nick Chubb. Baker Mayfield has basically got more injuries than I do, looking like an old man out there. Every possible injury he could have, he's struggling through. So, I mean, that team is just not very good right now. So, are they good? Yes. Do I see them as a competitor in the AFC? I think they make the playoffs. I just don't see them doing any damage. Mac Jones has been better than people have expected, but he's still a game manager. This defense is good, but it's not the elite defenses we've seen from New England in the past. So I have some of the same concerns, Braylon. I think they're good. I don't see them as an elite team in the AFC.
Hey, Chris, let's go to Saturday. You got Purdue over Michigan State a couple weeks ago. Can the Spartans hang with Ohio State this weekend? How high is this game going to go?
Maz, you got that party shirt on, so I got to give you some good news here. I like Michigan State a lot in this game. I do think they can be competitive. This spread seems a little bit too high to me, and I get it. Ohio State, a juggernaut, blowing teams out. They just blew Purdue out, who coming off that big win. I think Michigan State not only has a chance to cover this spread, I like sprinkling a little bit on the money line as well, Maz. I'm seeing a plus 760 on FanDuel. So for every $100 you bet, you're getting 7.5 times your money or more than that. I think Michigan State has a chance to pull an upset here. So I love Michigan State with the point, and I don't hate going on that money line as well. Michigan State beats Ohio State. Let's go big.
What are we talking?
Party with the win.
Are we talking 80 points? 80 points? How many points are we talking?
Wants to know if you got the over.
I think an over is probably, if they're going to win, they're going to have to do it by outscoring them, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. So is it the likeliest outcome? No, but if I'm getting 7.5 to 1 on my money, I like backing the Sparties here.
Yeah, I don't have a question for you right now, Chris. I just want to say I agree with you. I think the biggest thing about Ohio State, C.J. Stroud, that offensive line, those wide receivers, especially the offensive line and C.J. Stroud, they haven't seen a pass rush. That's why I was talking about in terms of Michigan having an opportunity to beat them and Michigan State plays them first. They haven't seen a pass rush. C.J. Stroud hasn't had guys in his face. He hasn't gotten sacked. He hasn't gotten beat up. And now he has to overcome pain, overcome adversity in a big moment. That's why I thought Michigan had a good chance. But Michigan State plays first, and you're right. I like the defensive line getting to him. Who knows what type of quarterback this guy is when the chips are down.
Talking to Chris Prince, we call him Beer. His friends follow him on Twitter at BeerMakersFan. You can watch Chris anytime, but 6 o'clock weeknights with Scotty G as part of the Woodward Bet Show here on Woodward Sports Network. So you like that in college? Anything in the NBA tonight that jumps out at you? Or college basketball? We'll let you choose whichever direction you want to go.
Yeah, we'll stick with the NBA. NBA's been pretty good to us on the show. There's 6 games tonight. I'm just going to give you one that stands out to me. I really like Washington here tonight in Miami. So they're plus 7 at most books out there. I know Spencer Dinwiddie going to be out tonight. Is a blow to that offense, but Bradley Beal playing at an incredibly high level. This team is for real. I know a lot of people see Washington 10 wins. It's fluky, and Miami's been a juggernaut, no doubt. But I think Washington has a real shot in this game. So catching 7 points, I think they either win this game or stay competitive. So
nice.
We'll go with the Washington Wizards tonight, plus 7.
What about the NFL, Chris? You play anything yet? Are you looking at keeping an eye on anything?
We'll stay local, and I'm gonna give you another, maybe a hot take here that Maz might enjoy, but I think the Lions can stay competitive in this game. You look at some of the games they've played. They stayed competitive with Pittsburgh. They stayed competitive with the Baltimore team. They go out to L.A. They stay competitive with a Rams team. I mentioned this Cleveland team. Baker Mayfield, I don't know if this guy is completely ready to go here. I think they'd be better off going with Case Keenum. And if it is Tim Boyle, hey, I'm a Green Bay fan. I hated to see Tim Boyle walk out that door. I don't think he's a far drop-off from what you're getting from Jared Goff. So if it's Boyle, I still think Detroit can be competitive here, establish the run like they want to do, make it an ugly type game that's too many points for me. I think the Lions covered that 11.5 this weekend.
I do you one better, Chris. I'll say that it's not a drop-off at all from Tim Boyle to Jared Goff, Jared Goff to Tim Boyle.
You're right.
Here's one in the NFL. This is an interesting one. I think this could be the most important game so far this season. 4:25 on CBS. What do you think is going to happen with the Chiefs in Dallas?
I think Dallas is going to win this game, and it's going to be a big statement win for them. I know we want to crown Kansas City. They're back. They beat the Raiders. They look great. Everything is good once again in KC land, but this Dallas team is very impressive. And when it comes down to it, Dallas defensively is much better than Kansas City is defensively. So I think they're going to be able to slow them down enough to control the game. And I don't think we're going to get the big fireworks shootout like we saw in that Kansas City Rams game years ago, Braylon. I think this one could be a little bit uglier. So if we're talking betting, I like the under on that giant number. It's gotten up to 56 at a lot of books. But outright, I think Dallas goes out and wins this game in Kansas City.
Isn't it crazy that the guy that has won an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, has the highest contract in North American sports history, has more to prove in this game than the guy that hasn't won a playoff game, hasn't won an MVP, and just got back from injury? Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, that spotlight burns bright sometimes. So he's under it. He's under that microscope. So absolutely. That should be an entertaining game, no doubt. Really looking forward to that one.
Chris Prince, watch him tonight on Woodward Bets right here on Woodward Sports. Weeknight, 6 o'clock here. And, of course, you can follow him on Twitter at BeerMakersFan. So tonight he's got the under in the football game. He's got the Washington Wizards and looking for the Spartan upset.
All right, baby. Let's get that money on that.
And he's got Dallas. This is a big week for you.
7-1.
7-1.
On the line here. Yep, 7.5 to 1. Let's get it.
Maz is running right to the store now. He's running right to the store. He's going all three of them downtown right now.
Right now.
Chris, thanks, buddy.
You got it, guys.
Always a pleasure, Chris.
See you, Beer.
All right, we'll see
Say
you,
hi
Beer.
to Scotty G.
You got it. All right, man. Those guys are great. Look, those guys are so much fun. Yeah. Who's better than Beer? I'm sorry. I love that guy.
That guy, what a natural.
I got a total friggin' man crush.
You've loved him for a long time, and now you work in the same capacity.
I friggin' love that man. I got a total friggin' man crush.
It's too bad you don't bet.
I gotta take some of my money. I might take some cheese and go make some bets based off Chris. I'm taking it.
Ermanni and Edwards, what a shame.
Woodward
Damn
Sports
shame
Network,
what they did to that dog.
Bottom line.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Hey, gang, I want to tell you about Guardian Alarm. Guardian Alarm has been your local security experts for over 90 friggin' years. If you're in business for 9 decades, you're doing something right. That's why when the bad guys or the bad girls, they see that black and yellow sign on your front lawn, in your bushes, whatever the case may be, they know it means one thing. You know what that means? It means stay out.
They're good, man.
That's right. That's what
Stay
that means.
out, right?
Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe 24/7 local monitoring. You can check in on your home, control your lights, temperatures, detect smoke, carbon monoxide. Anything you want, they got it for you to protect your home. All you got to do, you want to be the championship defender of your home? I'm going to tell you, this is the secret. This is all you have to do, guys. You got to call 1-800-STAY-OUT! That number again, 1-800.
Stay out!
Stay out!
Stay
Get
out!
out now! Stay out!
wicked awesome.
Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
You know what that black and yellow represents, Maz?
The Steelers. The Pirates.
If you were about to break into a house, okay, you were about to break into a house, and you saw Mel Blunt, you saw Greg Lloyd, you saw Jack Lambert, you saw Mean Joe Green,
the steel curtains.
you saw Troy Polamalu, you saw what's James Harrison. If you see these guys, are you still trying to break into that house? That's what Guardian represents
Devin
with that
Bush.
black and yellow. I'm not breaking into the house. Devin Bush, Cameron Hayward, T.J. Watt now.
What about our good friend Larry Foote?
Oh, the Foot Doctor.
Nah, I'm not messing with Foot.
No.
I saw him in Persian and the Cubs.
Yeah,
I'll pass.
I'm messing with
I'll
him.
pass.
Stay out. Maz, bottom line videos of the day. You're up.
All right, let's do this. Let's start it off. There's been a video that happened a couple of days ago, but we just keep running out of time. So I'm going to run this one for you. It's about 2 minutes and change on this one. You're going to hear the play-by-play on this from the news anchor as well. This was a car chase just outside of Los Angeles on Monday. You will not
this is crazy.
believe
craziest one you'll ever
what
see.
you're going to see. And for the people on radio, you're going to hear it. So give it a listen and a watch.
Right there at I-25 at Thornton Parkway, almost was caught by the officers. They were trying to join the highway. Goes southbound on Peoria. Here on Peoria, dives around. Look there at 64th Avenue, nearly hit some other cars. And this is where I thought he was going to get caught. He ended up in a little parking lot area here that is really a no man's land near about 69th Avenue. He decides to go up into the grass over the curb there, and he can see there's no restrictions right there.
Just outside of L.A.
Wow, whoever news anchor this is doing awesome.
So that's how he was able to escape
Describing
the side
this.
street.
Check this
and
guy
get
out
back
now.
up on the highway. This is where he was going on I-76 for a while. Stops.
Al Collins ain't got
this
nothing
is where
on this
he
guy.
carjacks that family, the couple.
Oh my God.
Gets,
He cuts a car off.
This guy is about. It's like Grand Theft Auto.
She jumps out of the car right now and then goes to the side, and this is when he has that gold minivan and then drives away, back going the wrong way on I-76, nearly hitting semis, police officers. They try to get the stop sticks out and throw it across the highway, but unfortunately they missed, and he almost
Bad
missed.
throws by cops.
Hit some other car.
It's like Jared Goff out there.
They need Bruce Lee.
It's a BMW.
Trooper. He now tries to
he's got
get
black
out
and
of the
yellow
car
on.
and tries to carjack that guy in the
He did a fake and got back in the car while the car was running. This guy's amazing.
This is the next car that he carjacks when he just got off of Peoria, just south of E470. He pretends that, hey, I just hit
Looks
you.
like
I'm in an
Montana.
accident. What's going on?
It's like Colorado,
And he gets
Montana.
up
I
to
heard
the,
it was outside of
store.
LA.
He opens it up and
But
then
there's
rips
snow.
her out, throws her to the
Good
There's no in
point.
LA,
Northern
man.
California.
and then
Oh,
continues
the mountain
on
region.
his wild chase. I was scared
That
right there. I
person-
thought, let it go. Just let the car go.
Just let
Don't
the car
go
go.
chasing after the
They don't
car.
have insurance.
He then comes
Oh,
into the intersection
that's
right
it.
here. At
No,
Peoria
that's not it.
and Lincoln
Oh, my
Avenue.
God,
Causes
it's
that
not
accident.
it?
The
No.
car is undrivable.
He messed her car
jumps
up.
out, almost trapped. He wanted to get into that car there and take it again, but he was unable to. Because
There he
of
goes.
the-
What did he do? What's his
Now
offense?
he's on foot.
I don't know, but
Fast with the coats off.
he's got
on
at least 8 felonies against him right here. Maybe 10.
He's on
What's
whip
his-
it.
what's his offense?
He's slow.
And this is where the officers
Is that snow?
He's tired.
Yes, that's snow. It's in Montana.
Oh, it is?
Very scary
I don't
chase that
know.
lasted
This looks like
about
Montana to
45
me.
minutes or
It
so.
There's
looks
still
like
leaves
middle-
on the tree.
It's middle of
Thankfully,
nowhere.
It didn't turn out
Montana,
worse than
Idaho.
it could have, as
Oh, he gave up.
Wow, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
And that'll wrap it up.
I'm just glad. It seems like, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but it seems like nobody was injured. I'm glad no one was injured, and if that's the case, man, that was like watching Grand Theft Auto live.
Man, oh man, what a nut job.
Check this next one out. This is a soccer game. It looks like a high school soccer game.
Football.
This looks like a high school soccer game. This is called Walk It Off, because listen to the coach after these two guys get hit in the face with the soccer ball. Check this out. From a woman, by the way, a girl.
Oh!
Wow.
Nice ball! Nice
Listen,
Just a bit outside.
walk it off. Here it is. Boom. Boom.
Walk it off!
Walk it off.
Last time I checked, you couldn't walk on your face.
This girl hits two of these guys on a penalty kick right in the face.
Free kick, man.
Free kick. Sorry, free kick.
So great.
Oh my
You
God.
see how he did the black girl, man? You knocked the black girl on the ground. That
I
wasn't
see
right.
your soccer now, just A+, man.
She's the only one out there. You knock her down. Now you won't play soccer anymore.
Oh, man, what are you trying to do?
Right in the face.
I'm joking.
Don't get in the way of a free kick.
Boom.
Let's take you back a day ago, back in 2004. This is Minnesota, University of Minnesota. Check the sideline out. Head coach, not head coach, but one of the coaches, Dan Lehman, on the sideline. He's got a little DQ break.
Any relation to Teddy Lehman?
I don't think so, but check him out.
Teddy.
They're going to sneak up on him.
Jalen Marshall
Look,
recovered to the end zone by Minnesota.
he's eating the dilly bar.
Well,
what's wrong with this
they're
guy?
tough here in
And it's
the Twin
cold
Cities,
outside.
and They don't mind ice cream on a cold
This
day.
is
They
04?
want it to be cold. They
04.
want it to keep snowing. By
Who was
Jalen
it?
Marshall.
Glenn,
You were
Glenn-
senior that year?
Yeah, senior year. Who was that? Glenn Mason was the head coach?
Well,
I think so.
Glenn Mason. Yeah, I know my coaches.
Ohio State against Minnesota, and he's eating the dilly bar on the sideline.
Snowing
I
outside.
would venture to guess the Minnesota won that game. Ohio State wasn't that good that year.
Yeah?
They beat us, but they weren't that good.
Who was the coach then?
Well,
In
Ohio
04?
State. It's still
Yeah.
Trussell.
Oh, was it?
It's still Trussell.
The sweater.
Can you imagine if when that soccer highlight, Chris Berman was doing the commentary?
Oh, that would have been good.
Boom, boom.
You got one more for us, man?
I do. Hey, it's 65 years ago today.
I'm in Madden.
A great quarterback was born. His name
One of your favorites.
was Warren Moon, a favorite
my favorite
of
coach. My
the
favorite
Edwards
quarterback.
family.
Yes.
Check him out. Just a couple of highlights. We can keep the mics going.
My dad was in Warren Moon's wedding. Good for him.
How about that?
Good for him.
Look at that AstroTurf. Do you know how hard that had to be on your body?
I do. I
Hey,
played
your dad was telling me about this guy before. Curtis Duncan. Curtis Duncan.
He had a great receiver core, man.
I played the Silverdome too, by the way.
Drew Hill,
CYO.
Ernest Gibbons, Haywood Jeffries, Webster Sloan.
No, I
Listen,
didn't.
listen
I
to
never
Don
made it.
Criqui on the call. Look at the House of Pain.
Drew Hill, the electric slide. Here's the crazy thing.
Warren Moon.
Warren Moon played in the CFL for the first 6 years of his career.
Heck
If you
yeah, he did.
add all his stats from the CFL to the NFL, he would destroy the touchdowns and yards. He still would be ahead of Brady to this day.
There is no better uniform
Yeah.
than that Houston Oiler
Oh,
uniform
they were the
and that
best.
helmet.
The best. The
There's
oil
no,
Derek. Loved
there's
it.
no better.
Braylon was rocking the
I
vest
know.
the other day.
I got a good look at it, and I was
Yeah. It's
examining
beautiful.
that. It's a gorgeous logo.
Gorgeous.
And shame what happened. Like, some of those individuals that had that talent. Back in the day, that time, the NFL was not keen on letting black guys play quarterback.
Him
why
and
Warren-
Doug Williams might have been the only ones in that era, right?
And Warren Moon had to wait 7
James
years
Harris,
to
too.
get in. Like, Warren Moon had to go to the CFL
Right.
to
Yeah.
get in. And
No
then,
doubt.
Doug Williams
Best
only
league ever.
because of what's his name getting hurt. Because of Theismann getting hurt.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
Theismann got hurt and he was able to
Thiesman.
play.
no doubt.
Joe Theismann.
And
so.
that,
Do you know his name is really
my
Thiesman?
ratings have
crazy.
changed.
Yeah,
Braylon,
crazy.
you know his real name is Thiesman?
Yeah.
You know they changed it to rhyme with the Heisman?
Yeah.
That's why they changed Joe Thiesman's name to Joe Theismann.
That's
because
a-
they wanted to rhyme it Theismann for Heisman. Just,
Did he
just
win
a
the
little
Heisman?
side order for you.
Did he win the Heisman?
I don't think so.
No, he did not. Another known fact, my name isn't Braylon, it's Braylon. That's what my mom originally wanted my name to be, but no one could remember or pronounce Braylon. It was all Braylon. So my mom just said, well, hell, it's Braylon. So yeah, I'm glad it's Braylon. That seems a little bit much.
Yeah, there
seems
you go.
It seems a bit much.
You might have needed an apostrophe at the end. Of
Hey,
the old
that makes it even way too much.
Hell of a day today. And Braylon and I even got after each other in that
Yeah, we
first
did.
hour.
I'm not done.
I'd go back and listen to that if I were you. Let your friends
It
know.
was the start of the show.
It was real
Hey,
good off the top.
It is the Mel Tucker Network.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see who's paying attention.
This is true.
Guys, love you. Love everybody. Take us out of here, Bray.
Man, we've had a good day. Good week coming up. Chris Berman talking about the Michigan State Spartans are going to beat Ohio State down in Columbus. We'll see. We'll be excited. Check out Thursday Night Football. I don't think the game's going to be close, but you know what? Here's an early prediction. Since he's predicted Michigan State, I'm going with the Falcons over the Patriots tonight. Can't wait till tomorrow with Friday. We'll preview the college football games, and we're just having a good time.
Yes,
it's
we
fun
are.
over here, man. We're not here for a long time, but we're here for a good time. So I'm Edwards. He's Ermanni. This is Woodward Sports Network, The Bottom Line.
Third and 4. Moon firing it long. He's got Gibbons. and Givens will take it all the way.
Here comes Woodson. They pick him up very well and move down the middle for Jeffries. Haywood Jeffries touchdown.